So I'd like to talk about my Space Marine chapter, the Knights Obsidian, and how I sort of developed the background for them and the sort of sources that I used to sort of ground my Space Marine chapter in actual events of Warhammer 40,000. And so what I've got is Index Astartes 1, and I also have Index Astartes 2, and I believe there's a third one. So Index Astartes 1 and 2 contain the information, the sort of original White Dwarf articles for Imperial Fists and Iron Warriors, and my Space Marine chapter draws heavily from Imperial Fist and Iron Warriors sort of lore and background. So it was very interesting for me to look through one of these books and sort of read about the combat doctrines and the tactics and sort of some of the events of the Horus Heresy that are pertinent to, for instance, this bit's about Iron Warriors, and it talks about events of the Horus Heresy, just some really early on stuff. This is before the Horus Heresy, the sort of series from Black Library, so this is really interesting to read, and it enabled me to get a feel of the sort of starting elements of Iron Warriors and also the starting elements of Imperial Fists in the Index Astartes books. And we also have all the codexes that came out, and there's been lots of Black Library reading, literature and stuff like that. And I think it's helpful to, as well as focusing on your own chapter, to sort of have a look at similar chapters or who you want to be a successor of. Lots of chapters have a known successor, so you can go and read all about those. So if you're a White Scar successor, go and read about White Scars. And it just sort of, when you're developing your chapter, you can sort of say, oh, I like this story of how Iron Warriors fought. There's the story about they're just good sources of information, really. One of the pieces that was in Index Astartes with the Iron Warriors and has sort of been developed is the fact that they're paranoid. And I really like the idea that that's one of their traits, that they're paranoid. And I thought, well, how can I take an Iron Warriors trait and sort of, I don't want my Space Marine chapter to sort of be thought of as being heretical. I want them to be loyalists. But I really like the idea that they could be paranoid because Iron Warriors are. And I thought, well, how could they? And I thought, well, there's a reason why Iron Warriors are paranoid. It's not just that they're paranoid, it's because there's a fault in one of their organs for all the situations that they find themselves. So I looked at, I'm looking through my Space Marine Codex at a reason as to why the Iron Warriors could become so paranoid, and I thought I'm going to really not pronounce this very well, the Catalepsean Node, which is the organ that deals with the sort of regulation of sleep patterns in Space Marines, and it allows them to go on extended actions for a long period of time and sort of sleep parts of their brain but remain active and alert. And I thought the reason why Iron Warriors could be paranoid is a sort of a failing of this organ that would allow them to carry on for extended periods of time, but over really extended periods of time, there could be sort of faults with the organ, and that would lead to sort of semi-psychotic episodes and paranoia, bouts of paranoia. And I thought, well, that's what I'm going to have my Space Marine chapter to happen with. They're not going to be paranoid all the time, not like Iron Warriors. Iron Warriors are sort of they live in the warp, and they don't have access to sort of medical technology anymore. So, and they're sort of, their Catalepsean nodes like misfiring all the time. But I thought, so they're proper paranoid. I thought my Knights Obsidian are going to have, just for long periods of extended exertion, after that they're going to start becoming paranoid. But they could know it's going to happen. They're sort of aware of it, and they can sort of feel it biting. It's almost akin to the red thirst that sort of blood angels know it's going to happen, and it gives you aspects of storytelling that you can sort of have something that they know is going to happen. And so that's one of the things that I decided that my Space Marine chapter was going to have to make them interesting and a bit different, and sort of also grounded in the reality of Warhammer 40,000 and the sort of extended universe. So that's one of the pieces of lore that I read through some of the source material and thought, oh, that's really cool, and latched onto that and thought, well, how's that possible? And then I had a look at all the different organs in my Space Marine Codex, and I thought, well, that's a possible reason. So that's a little delve into my Space Marine chapter, the Knights Obsidian. I'm going to do more and more and more and more, and I'm just going to sort of show you how I fleshed out my chapter and how you can maybe take some of the information and flesh out yours. So thanks for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.